some sensational news regarding United States and Trump and Biden. But before that, let's welcome Kaartik Gor ji. Kaartik ji, namaskar and welcome to PGurus channel.
Namaste, 𝗏𝗏 and happy Mahashivratri to everybody.
And happy Mahashivratri to everyone. And Kaartik ji, this is like 2 minutes old. I have a video where the Venezuelan Prime Minister or President Maduro has a revelation for us. Let's take a look at that video.
Sure.
Utilizar la campaña de la administración Biden sobre el tema del tren de Aragua. Yo sobre eso tengo una posición muy clara. Le digo al presidente Donald Trump, con respeto, pida los informes de los últimos 4 años del FBI y la DEA, de las oficinas en Colombia, para que ustedes vean, presidente Trump, quiénes financiaron, quiénes movieron.
Okay, I think we can stop. Basically, the idea here is that he says that Biden administration was asking the Venezuelan government to specifically send out this deadly drug cartel called Tren de Aragua. And he said, I merely complied with it. So the question is, why did the Biden administration want the worst criminals to come and take up residence in the United States? Not only that, these people came into Colorado. I don't know how much you've been following this, Kaartik ji. They took over a complete complex and they were running a massive drug ring, not just in Colorado, but also in New York City. And these are the first set of people being rounded up. So give us a little bit of picture on why somebody like Biden would have this kind of a death wish that for the country that he is the president of, that, you know, you bring in the worst criminals and throw them here. What do you think is going on in Biden's mind when he did this?
See, the simple answer, if you might ask me, straight, unapologetic answer is probe Hunter Biden, and you will come to know about his roots with China and how China was directly involved and in destabilizing America, and everything was happening under Biden's watch. So frankly speaking, I have told that 3 years back, during the 𝗤𝗏 𝗏𝗏 and the yearly chart of America, that from now onwards that America downslide is going to happen. And God bless America if Trump is not going to come. And that was because the 𝗥𝗡𝗏 was in Karakastan, and that was the year the way America withdrew from Afghanistan. And frankly speaking, that was a time when the world started believing that, hey, is it possible that China is the next superpower? You know, before that, people do talk about unipolar, from unipolar to multipolar to maybe is it between now America and China. But that was the year when really people started thinking about it. And frankly speaking, if Kash Patel is going to go after them and probe the details, they are going to find out that everything, the buck stops with Biden and Hunter Biden. And that's why he gave that clearance or mercy to his family on the last day.
So, Kaartik ji, today's news is Kash Patel has ordered an inquiry into the former FBI director, Michael Comey, because in 2015, that is in the previous campaign of Trump, evidently the allegation, I don't want to say this is the proof, the allegation is that 2 people working for the FBI were placed as honeypots in the Trump campaign. Honeypot is similar to what the other honey is. Okay, honey trap. Honeypot is something very similar to that. And these supposedly were working with the FBI. And this was all orchestrated by Comey because he was the director at that point of time. So this is being investigated. This is all allegations right now, but this is the first investigation that Kash Patel has started. Maybe they'll also go after Hunter Biden, even though President Biden has pardoned him. I don't know how that works out, Kaartik ji, whether he has done a pardon for everything that Hunter Biden did, or is there something they can still find as a loophole and say, no, he has to stand trial for this. I don't know. But looking at the amount of work that Trump has got done in the 4 weeks, how does the path for United States look?
See, the path for America is very clear. If you remember, in one word, I had described Trump's swearing-in chart, and that was 𝗟𝗏𝗏𝗏. Right? And if you logically look at it, Frankly speaking, he is working like that, right? Where he has a horse who is running around, and if Zelensky is going to stop it, then he is going to ask for election, and Zelensky knows that he is out. So what does he do? He makes a deal that, okay, fair enough, I'm ready to negotiate on the minerals that are going to come, and I'm very clear that, hey, listen, what Trump is doing is following his chart. It is Mesha Lagna with Lagna Lord Mangal in the 4000 debility, but at the same time retrograde. There is only another planet which is in Kendra, which is Surya. And then there is only one other planet in trines, which is Mercury. So generally in Jyotish, we say that the Kendras and trines are going to dominate. So what is going to dominate? First is Mangal, because it is Lagnesh. And it is in the 4th house of internal security, the borders. So his first priority is going to be that Mangal, where he is going to focus on the illegal aliens, he's going to focus on borders, so on and so forth. The second is Surya. Surya is bringing some level of bureaucratic order back. So if you see the, what Elon Musk is doing, and through MAGA and everything, they are basically trying to bring in some structure and some discipline back, where they are asking everybody that, hey guys, what did you do last week? Tell us what were you up to? Whether you are even working, whether you even exist. And the last but not the least is that Mercury, which is all money, money, money. So these are the three areas where he is going to focus on the 2 years, where I feel he's almost going to get a straight walk. His problems will only start on the 3rd year. So if somebody from the Trump administration is watching me, I would request them that, hey guys, go ahead all out for the first 2 years. And let that 𝗔𝗍𝗪 yajna, go globally. And they are doing that actually, And if you look at their mindset, where they are taking NATO, they are taking Europe, just as if, like, I thought that Trump was the only guy who was unapologetic, and there arrives J.D. Vance. And I feel, my goodness, this guy has got such a clear mind. And America now looks like having a future, because if after Trump we look at a scenario where J.D. Vance could take over for another 8 years, so we have good 12 years where America actually has a good plan to come back. And from a multipolar world, it can still get back to where it becomes a situation where is jungle mein ek hi sher, which is going to be America.
Thank you so much. And we'll see how this thing plays out. We'll revisit this in a few months' time. That way we'll have an indicator that how successful he has been. I'm also hearing that on Friday, Zelensky is going to be flying down to White House to meet with Trump, and they expect that the minerals deal will be signed. But looks like there's another interview that Putin has given around the same time, yesterday or I think today, where he has described that he is open to even allowing the American companies to explore for minerals in the area that he has occupied.
Yes.
It's like streak, there is if it's a underground streak, let us say a silver ore, I'm just taking some metal. If the thing goes underneath the area that would become eventually Russia, he says it's okay, you can come and do that too, because basically both of them are looking at, we need to have these rare earths. So this is one side. The other interesting thing, and I'll ask you the question right after I explain what's going on. China is getting very agitated with Russia, and looks like Putin is also going to meet with Xi Jinping.
Correct.
To try and say, okay, no. So something is really up in the air here, because China is not happy that North Korea is now using Russia's satellite for its communications. It used to use China's satellite. So overnight they've switched, and North Korean soldiers are on hire. They are fighting for Russia in Ukraine. So China is very upset with Russia. So I don't know where that is going to go. Another thing that China has done today, and Taiwan has caught them red-handed, is China has tried to cut the undersea cables from Taiwan going outwards. It could be to Pacific, to United States, or it could be to South, to either, it could be Korea, it could be anywhere. You are not supposed to touch this thing. The interesting thing is China was caught red-handed doing the same thing in the Baltic Sea, which is that, not Baltic Sea, what is the thing? Arctic Sea. Two instances where they caught them. So China is using the same thing here and there. So somehow it's trying to create some discord. Tell me what is going on here. I mean, How does this impact United States and the rest of the world?
See, China have been always very clear that China will never fight a war. It knows that, in a combat situation, it doesn't have the power to manage things, right? And now the situation is such that America would use Russia to cut China. And it is very clear that, with the experiences of the first term of Trump, and we need to really give it to Trump that he was the only guy who was talking about China virus. Nobody even had the guts to even put that word, yeah. So it is all his team, are known hawk about China as well. So China is going to get through tough times, and China obviously is not going to face a war-like situation. It will always fight, a war which is not a combat war, through economy, through all those things, more or less. But I see very tough time for China, and but they are not going to split as of yet. The splitting part of China is going to happen post 2030, 32 to 34. That is the top line. But definitely financially, they are going to definitely put a lot of pressure on China. More importantly, this is the opportunity for India to rise. If India can really pull up its socks and manage to get some sort of a manufacturing base in India, then I think America will give a lot of help, because the agenda would be to change the factories from China to India. The only problem with the world is how much is India ready, how much are the other countries also ready, and then what is the cost of production, so on and so forth. So if at all Bharat can get that economics right, I think it is a fantastic period next 5 years for India to actually get into that manufacturing base also.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And in fact, what you said is absolutely spot on. There is this union that is communist-based, CITU. This is very active in the South India. In Chennai, they have already struck twice, striking at Samsung. And Samsung said they will accept their demands, but they will not allow them to unionize. And that was their primary demand. And CITU has been at it again. A couple of days ago, second time there has been a problem. So they are doing their best, because CITU's umbilical cords are all 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗧, they are being played around by China. So I think China is doing its best to try and be a disruptor, to try and prevent companies from coming into India. It remains to be seen how India hits back at China. You have to poke them somewhere, so that they'll say, next time you do it, I'm going to hit you back hard. So I don't know what India has planned for that. But let's take a yeah, go ahead.
You bring in Tesla to India, and that will be a huge hit to China. I think that is what Modi ji will be working, and I'm sure he is working on that.
Well, let's hope that bears fruit. And now let's take a look at post-Delhi elections. How does the future look for India? Does Modi government have a breathing room? Because I am expecting the WAQF bill to be passed in the next couple of days or the next session. And with that would be like a big move forward, so that this kind of frivolous lawsuits, claims will be at least looked at by people in administrative services and things like that. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I think this was expected. In fact, I'm on record to say that it's a huge advantage for BJP as far as Delhi is concerned. The candidate selection was also very interesting, because while everybody was expecting Pravesh Verma to be the next chief minister, I was a little hesitant about that. And finally, when we did the Prashna, and then it's there on X, where I mentioned that it looks like a female candidate who is going to be the chief minister of Delhi. And the swearing in chart also looks very, very interesting for BJP actually, or BJP Delhi to be specific, because it is Delhi CM. And Aam Aadmi Party is going to find it very tough to keep its flock together. So I see a split happening within the AAP party. They are going to find it very tough to keep or retain their 22 MLAs that they have. And Rekha Gupta also looks like a very, very unapologetic leader. So with third Lord in debility and also Lagnesh in debility, that too in the 7th house of opponents, I think they are going to go after Aam Aadmi Party like it's no other day. So that is one good thing which I see. And more importantly, again, the whole concept is around finance. So they are going to bring back the economy of Delhi back to some sense, and that is the good thing. So overall, I feel that BJP will do very well in this next 5 years as far as Delhi is concerned, and there is a high chance that they might be voted back.
Thank you so much. And we have some time for questions now. Are there any questions? Satyanarayanan wants to know, if Trump considers Zelensky as a leader whose tenure has ended and therefore illegitimate, how Trump signing any agreement with Xi on minerals square up?
Let us put it this way. See, Trump is a very banya mentality. So I'm sure he must have made his calculation. How much have we spent on the war? You know, so it's like, you know, he telling Putin that, guys, there is a spoils of war, and then Putin, you can't take everything. And then let me speak to Zelensky and we are going to take our share. So frankly speaking, this is a pure trade deal, which is not bounded or not done by anything else. And to that extent, Putin has already agreed that I don't mind peacekeepers being there. So the deal has been made at a very, very long level, much before actually Trump has actually even come, right? So whatever that 2-3 months he got after winning the election till the time he was sworn in, I'm sure a lot of envoys have gone to Putin. You know, they've understood that this is what Trump is thinking. What do you feel? Okay, Trump, Putin is thinking this way. What do you think? And more or less the level playing field or the common grounds have been worked out. So this is more like, okay, guys, you know, we have spent so much on the war. You know, I'm not going to give it for free to Putin to walk over all of it. And I need my share of it when Putin is happy to share it. As simple as that.
Last question, please.
But Zelensky is on his way out. Let me put it that way.
Mahesh Pattabhiraman wants to know, any chance for COVID-like pandemic to strike again?
Interesting question. You know, so we will talk about it when we do, you know, because the 𝗟𝗘𝗏 𝗔𝗘 chart will be there soon. So once we discuss that, because see, even when you see 2019-20, there was a clear 𝗟𝗏 which was showing there. You know, which means that there is a snake outside the door. So we are going to be very hesitant to come out of the door. So if such situations show back, because I don't go by the 1st January chart and all, it is fine to talk about it. And I did talk about it. But more importantly, maybe when we do it the next time, when during March time, March, April, mid of March is when we would talk about it. And that would be the right time for us to talk about it. So, but as of now, from the 1st January chart, doesn't look like happening.
Thank you so much, Kaartik ji. There's one more question. Yeah, let's take up that question. Satyanarayanan wants to know, please ask Gorji whether the Indian judiciary would ever be made accountable.
Well, see, if I talk my heart out, you know, people feel that I'm going all out, but I feel that it's time BJP, Modi ji has to talk about or walk the talk, or shall we say, do the hard talking. You know, because Bharat has gone out of that stage where we can take one decision every 10 years, which is a big decision. We don't have that much time. So for God's sake, you know, I hope that, you know, people at the helm of affair understand that Bharat has got a lot of strategic changes to make. Judiciary is one important decision. And if I might give you a small example, while I was in Kashi and somebody asked me that, Kaartik ji, what would be Trump doing if he was, instead of Modi ji, if he was made the prime minister in May 2014? And without a split of eyelid, I told them that Trump would sign an ordinance to make a Ram Mandir from the next day. And on top of it, tell the judiciary that, guys, you have been taking Ram Navami holidays for years. You are not going to decide whether Ram exists or no. So we need an unapologetic leader who is not getting into wokeism, you know, has got no other interest except for what is good for Bharat. If he thinks about that, then it is right there. Educational reforms, judiciary reforms, you know, uniform civil code, you know, these are all things which should have been there long back.
Thank you so much, Kaartik ji. Viewers, that's all for today. Please like, share and subscribe to our channel. And Kaartik ji will be back 2 weeks from now, time permitting, and if his travel doesn't have a challenge with that. Namaskar.
Namaskar. Namah Shivaya.